This is the way it should be. My brothers, my pack around me. We are hurtling through the atmosphere at speeds I cannot even guess. We look at one another and grin beneath our helms as we descend towards the planet, spat out of our orbiting battle barge like the breath of the wolf himself. We are his teeth, and we will sink them into the exposed underside of this enemy in his name. For the Great Wolf, for the Russ. The others call it a decapitating strike. Me, I call it Tuesday. The enemy awaits us. We should not leave them too long. The enemy has built fortifications, hardpoints, bunkers, and barracks aplenty. They think they are invulnerable, untouchable. They have never faced the Volkifinica. We will arrive in the courtyard of their highest mount, their deepest sanctum. We are laughing as their defenses try to swat us from the air. Pathetic. As we reach the last seconds, the thrusters fire. We decelerate, but still hit the ground hard. A normal human would have their bones shattered, their sinew liquefied by the force of it. I let my armor take the majority and enjoy the snap of pain that heralds our full impact. It jars my senses, wakes me up even more. I can feel the howl echoing in my every sinew, feel it coursing through my veins. The doors blow open. A mere second after our impact, and the turret fires out to clear away the closest of any scum who may have survived our advent. I burst from my fetters and join my pack in our ordered swift exit. We are amongst the sheep. My chainsword in hand, my pack around me, we dash toward them to start a blood tithe. Within the hour, this Bastille will be ours. The insurgents over before it began. Welcome, gentle listeners. I am Baldermort, and I wish to introduce you to the forces, factions, and war gear of the Warhammer 40k universe. Today, we shall briefly discuss what I call one of the big three: drop pods. After Dreadnoughts and Land Raiders, I feel that there is nothing more iconic, nothing that literally screams Warhammer, more than the drop pod. I should lean on existing wisdom to give us the initial flavour of these transport devices that one would only ever see in the grim darkness of the future, where there is no time for health and safety. There is only time for getting in amongst the foe and wreaking bloody carnage as swiftly as possible. Welcome to the Drop Pod, the Space Marine swift transit vehicle of choice. To quote, drop pods are fired from vessels in low orbit and use powerful retro burners to direct their approach to the target deployment zone. Inside each drop pod, a squad of Space Marines is borne into the thick of the fray, locked into harnesses and protected from the incandescent rage of atmospheric re-entry by the transport's ceramite armor. Streaking down upon the battlefield like a meteor, the drop pod fires its retro thrusters at the last moment, ensuring that it slams down in a controlled yet shockingly violent fashion. Scarcely has the drop pod's smouldering hull come to rest when its hatches blow open with a bang of hydraulics and the occupants storm down its ramps, unleashing havoc amidst the shocked enemy rear lines. Even after delivering its passengers, the transport contributes to the fight, its system-guided Stormbolter or Deathwing launcher spitting death into the foe's formations. End quote. And here we see the utter brutality of Warhammer. For a drop pod is literally just a missile that is fired at a planet, but instead of exploding on impact, it has a burst of thrusters and then instantly disgorges its contents. Some of the most skilled and robust killers in the grim darkness of the future, the Space Marines. I have to admit that I absolutely adore drop pods. It's not only their lines, their models, it is the sheer concept of them. Space Marines are without fear, but it takes a certain level of bleak determination and a total disregard for one's own safety to willingly, nay, if not enthusiastically, walk into a missile that will be fired toward a hardpoint that will be bristling with anti-aircraft fire, and to then trust in one's own destiny and invulnerability to such an extent that one is near certain of not only arriving, but doing so right in the middle of the enemy's strongest defences. Only the Space Marine has that kind of gumption and sheer grit, but also the unshakable confidence. For when the doors burst open, the Marines simply charge out and engage any and all in their path, while ignoring any disorientation, and immediately ploughing towards their prearranged objectives. Space Marines are so rare, their time so precious, the need for them so prolific, that they do not fight in protracted engagements. They will get the job done as swiftly, bloodily, and efficiently as possible. Falling from the skies as they do, no war gear can compare to the drop pod in supporting the Adeptus Astartes, the Space Marines sobriquet as the Emperor's own Angels of Death. I have been Baldermort, your faithful servant. If you have enjoyed this woefully brief introduction to the drop pod, then please do consider liking and subscribing. We shall go more into the tactics, makes and models, and history of the drop pods as time goes by, and I would not want you to miss out. Well, it's not my fault. I followed the instructions. Well, yes, I know that flap doesn't count down, but they're nearly as hard to put together as a land speeder. But it's so worth it. Oh, I know, honey. The jump packs ones are glorious too, but this can send down the ones without the packs. Well, sometimes I just like to get up close and personal with my melters. Melty, melty. Ooh, okay. Yeah, I'd better finish this one off. Back to my dungeon to complete the Ritual of the Damned. It's a corker, but not sure. Maybe it'll be cooked by Friday night. Valentine's? Romance? No, there is no time for romance. There is no time for flower and chalky giving and jumping about. There is only time for war. It's the Grimdark, honey. Now, no matter what you do today, do try to make some time for fun. Toodaloo.